What are the two most likely things that are going to calm down this insanely hot seller's market this year? And why is one of those much better for the overall health of the housing market than the other? Those are the questions I'm going to answer today. Hi, I'm Josh Alexander from The Brokerage and your host of Orange County Housing Market News, your one-stop shop for all things Orange County real estate. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I really do appreciate it. If this is the first time you're tuning into this show is all about Orange County real estate. So I go over local trends in the market, interview other experts in the field, and then I go over some different tricks, tips, and advice for both buyers and sellers to help you out in today's market. So if you're thinking about buying or selling a house, this is a great place to start. So make sure you hit that subscribe, like, and that bell button below. That way you're notified every time I release a new episode each week. So let's go ahead and get into today's show. So unless you've been living under a rock over the last year and a half, you probably know by now that we are in an extremely hot seller's market. And unfortunately for buyers, that doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon. Right now, inventory is still just way too low, demand is way too high, and even though interest rates have been creeping up a little bit, they're still extremely low. In fact, because interest rates have been creeping up, it's actually made demand even stronger because a lot of buyers don't want to miss out on these low rates, so they see them going up. And so now we have a new flood of buyers entering the market, trying to take advantage of these low rates before they go up even farther, making it an even hotter seller's market right now in February than we saw at the beginning of the year. So needless to say, the market fundamentals just aren't there right now to see any kind of major switch happen in the housing market over the next couple months. However, there might be a little bit of hope on the horizon, especially for buyers as we get towards the middle of this year. So looking at the data in Orange County, as well as reviewing data from the top housing economists in the US, it's pretty evident at this point, barring some black swan event like going to war or something like that, that one or two things is probably gonna happen to the housing market as we get towards the middle of summer. Again, like I said at the beginning, one of these two things is much better and healthier for the housing market, and one is going to be much worse. So let's go ahead and look at the changes that I'm hoping are going to happen to help this housing market get back to a normal, healthy level, because right now it is definitely unsustainable. And the amount of appreciation that we're getting every single month, it just can't go on for much longer without causing issues. So the first thing that I see that's going to help slow this housing market down is interest rates continuing to climb upwards. So most top economists are predicting that interest rates will continue to climb as we go through the rest of the year. So that's something that most people are expecting at this point. Unfortunately, we've seen since the beginning of the year that even though interest rates have gone up, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to impact demand very significantly until it gets to a certain level. So what is that level? Well, based on historic norms, we're probably looking at needing to get to interest rates around 4% before you really start seeing a significant difference in the housing market where buyer demand starts to go down because homes become unaffordable and you start to see buyers drop out, which helps inventory start to rise a little bit because demand's a little bit lower. That's the best case scenario that I'm hoping is going to happen as we get towards the summer, as long as interest rates continue to go up. So now you might be thinking, okay, well, if it goes above 4%, that's when things start cooling down, but how do I know when it's about to hit that level so I can plan accordingly? Well, no one has a crystal ball. You'll never be able to time the market like that. However, there are some indicators you can look at. The top indicator really to be able to see where interest rates are going for a 30-year fixed mortgage is by tracking the 10-year treasury. So historically, the 10-year treasury tracks very closely with what the 30-year fixed mortgage rates are doing. So in order for that 30-year fixed mortgage to get over 4%, we need to see that 10-year treasury go above 2% to be able to see that 4% rate for mortgages. Now, right now, the 10-year treasury is hovering right around 1.85%. So you might be thinking, that's really close. We're probably really close to being there. Those 4% interest rates are right around the corner. However, you do need to realize that the 10-year treasury doesn't move significantly. The last time it was above 2% was actually back in the middle of 2019. So we haven't seen above 2% rates in a while. But another thing you do need to remember is that above 2% rates for the 10-year treasury was very common leading up to 2019. So from 2016 to 2019, the 10-year treasury was almost always above that 2% range. So it's definitely able to get above that range. However, to break into that range tends to be pretty hard to do. It's come close a couple times, but it hasn't broken into that range since the middle of 2019. So yes, we're close. However, again, it doesn't move significantly, so it's something that you just need to be able to track day by day. If that rate starts getting close to 2%, you'll know that mortgage interest rates going up to 4% is probably not too far behind that. So if we do see those mortgage rates hit 4%, is that going to completely shift the market where all of a sudden homes start losing value and we start seeing depreciation happen in the market? No. If we get to that 4%, all it's going to do at this point is slow the market down, so we're not seeing 1%, 1.5% appreciation every single month, month after month in the housing market, which again is completely unsustainable and just not healthy. If we get those rates up to around that 4% mark, you'll start seeing appreciation slow down to more of a crawl, but you're still going to be in a seller's market. You're still going to have more buyers than there are sellers, so sellers are still calling the shots. But instead of having 15, 20, 30 offers on every property, maybe they're only going to have 2, 3, 4, or 5. It makes it a lot more attainable for buyers and a little bit less stressful as well. And again, although no one likes to see interest rates go up, it's the thing that needs to happen to get us back to a healthy housing market where we can start growing at a more normal rate again so we don't have more issues in the future. Now, speaking of that, let's go through the second scenario. So scenario number 2 is that we don't see interest rates go up, or even worse, we see interest rates go down as we head into spring and summer. So the reason that's bad is because if we see interest rates go down, you're going to have another giant flood of buyers entering the market, trying to take advantage of those low interest rates while they do go down, and that's going to cause demand to go up again. It's going to continue the appreciation cycle where we're seeing 1.5% appreciation every single month, and by the middle of this year, we're gonna have double-digit appreciation gains again throughout Orange County, and that is just not healthy. There's going to be a point sooner rather than later, if we continue to see these appreciation rates, where buyers are gonna start saying, this is too much. We've had 30% appreciation over the last 2 years. I'm out, I don't want to buy a home anymore, it's not affordable, it's just not worth it. And at that point, you can start seeing inventory build up. And there's a couple things that can happen. You can see a bunch of sellers now see that interest rates are still low, but inventory is building. Oh no, have we reached the top of the market? Then you have a flood of homes hit the market because sellers want to take advantage while they still can. And on top of that, if interest rates all of a sudden start climbing in the back half of the year when appreciation has been out of control for the first 6 months, that's just going to impact the market even further. Now, I'm not calling for depreciation happening where you see home values go down. If this combination of factors happen, there's a very good chance that you're going to see flat appreciation as we go into the back half of the year into 2023 versus slow, gradual appreciation, which is what we want to see in the housing market to indicate a healthy housing market that's going to have legs going forward and not have issues going into 2023. So although it's an extremely unpopular opinion, especially for a real estate agent to have, I want to see interest rates start to climb sooner rather than later. Ideally, over the next couple months, we want to see those rates go a little bit higher to start taking that demand, calming it down a little bit, letting supply build up. Naturally, it's going to start building up during the spring and summertime anyway as more sellers put their home on the market, and that will help us get to a more healthy housing market as we exit this year going into 2023. So buyers, you might be thinking to yourself at this point, yes, finally, during the middle of summer, I might actually have a chance of getting into a home because competition might not be as bad. You do need to remember that if that happens, the reason for it happening is that interest rates have gone up, which means homes are going to be less affordable during the summer than they are right now. And on top of that, even though appreciation might slow if you start seeing those interest rates go up, it's not going to completely stop. So if you're still waiting until the summertime to buy a house versus trying that process now, there's a very good chance that the home's going to be more expensive, and on top of that, you'll be paying more per month because interest rates have gone up. So yes, you'll have less competition, but there's going to be a price you have to pay for that. So keep that in mind. So sellers, if you are thinking of selling your home this year, and one of those two scenarios does happen where you start to see a slowdown in the market as we exit spring into the summer market, you need to take that into consideration on when you put your house on the market. So the clients that I'm working with right now that need to sell their home, if they can put it on the market sooner rather than later, I'm advising them to do so, because right now demand is even higher than it was at the beginning of the year because everybody's trying to take advantage of these low interest rates, and the inventory is so sparse that you really don't have much competition at all. So you can get a great price for your house, sell it over asking price, have multiple offers on it, and be able to walk away with a giant chunk of change. And if you're thinking about upgrading and moving into a new home, right now is a great time to start thinking about getting it on the market, because if you get it on the market at the beginning of springtime, sell it during the middle of spring, you're going to be able to have more options to choose from for your new house. Whether it's a bigger house or go into something smaller, it's going to line up very well for you to put your house on the market at the very beginning of spring, and then have more options to choose from when you upgrade your house when you get towards the end of spring into summer. So definitely take that into consideration depending on what your goals are and where you might be moving after you sell your home. So I hope you found this information useful today. I put out new videos every single week, so if you did, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and that bell button below. And if you have any family or friends that might find this information useful, please consider sharing it as well. I'd really appreciate it. So until next time, stay healthy, stay happy, and I'll see you next week. Bye.